This is a role for House District 20 and State Representative that covers communities, Hub, Glendale, Hollywood. So we invited you out this evening. So Ward 9 is presenting. I apologize, Mr. Seals, we did change the flyer when we sent that out. Me rushing and doing things. But I thought it was very important to have this because a lot of you bring questions to councilmen that are sticky. Or you bring something to councilman that's counted. But he has me, and you just give it to me. And there's a lot, so there's separations of legislators. And we wanted to make sure that you got a front row seat before the Democratic Party did its process with endorsing individuals, so you could hear and decide. Many of you are precinct committee people, and you can take that to your communities, who you think from this little short hour, or you can always reach out to a candidate. You know, if you need further time to discuss something that they may have stated that you want more expounded. So, we are here this evening. This will be, every candidate will get the same question. They were given the questions this week, so they are prepared for these questions. 3 minutes. Everyone individually the questions, me personally. So, you will have 3 minutes for the first question. You will be asked to introduce yourself and why you're running for House District 20. And then the remainder of the questions, if we get through, even amount of time will be 2 minutes each, so there's 5 prepared questions. And then hopefully at the end, we'll have 2 minutes for you to follow up. Mr. Evans, are you Mr. Evans? There seems to be an issue. Did you pull blind, or did you actually pull your petition for the seat? Okay. Did you pull today?
No, I pulled like sometime last week.
Okay. So blind? Okay. So I apologize, you did not get the questions. There was a cutoff date, but we will allow you to participate in this forum. So we will have to be quick, and time will definitely matter since we have an additional candidate with us. So we will start this way on the first round of questions, and we'll keep rotating. Okay? So your seat's kind of designated which way you would go. I didn't tell you that. So welcome everybody again. We want to get started. Just for you, Tony Evans, the first, so I do believe you did not get these, and I apologize. The following questions will be asked of each candidate. You will have 3 minutes to introduce yourself and why you're running for the seat, and the following questions will be 2 minutes. Okay? All right, starting with Mr. Seals. And the timer is right here. Please look at the time clock, and you can go, Mr. Seals.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Seals, and I'm a candidate for State Representative in Ohio House District 20. I'm running because I feel the need, and I see the need for a change. Not just a change for those who lead, but a substantive change in the mentality of those who lead. A little bit about me. I've served for the last 8 years as ward leader in Cleveland Ward 7, which is the new Ward 8. I'm also the Ward Club president. I'm an elected precinct committeeman and elected executive precinct committeeman. And I'm honored to have served over the last 8 years in that capacity because it allowed me to understand the sensitivity and the needs of my community. I also is a recent retiree from SEIU 1199, which is the largest healthcare union in the country. I worked there as an administrative organizer and a political field coordinator. As an administrative organizer, I was responsible for bargaining union contracts and advocating for working people's rights. As a political field coordinator, it allowed me to work on such statewide campaigns as Senate Bill 5, where they were trying to take away the rights of public workers to organize, one of the largest attacks on organized labor in American history. Fight for a fair economy, where we challenge large corporations to pay their fair share of taxes. Most recently, I've worked on 2 initiatives statewide, and that's gerrymandering and minimum wage. These positions have allowed me and prepared me for this position that I'm running for. My preparation for these positions is unmatched, and I feel that I'm the best candidate for this position. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Perkins. I grew up in East Cleveland, attended Shaw High School, Kent State University graduate, criminal justice major. I am a retired Cleveland police officer with over 25 years of law enforcement experience. I'm also a business owner. I own R-Cap Security, and we're located in the district at 79th and Superior. I'm a member of St. Aloysius Church, which is also in the district. Also on the board of Bessie's Angels. Bessie's Angels is a nonprofit that takes care of young ladies who have aged out of foster care. We provide housing, a way of living, a way of life. I'm also a board member of the Huff Community Land Trust. The Huff Community Land Trust ensures that when developers come into the Huff area, that they are leasing the land instead of buying it, therefore putting in community benefits towards our community. Okay? My husband is also grew up on Earl, is a Glenville graduate. Have a son as a civil engineer. I am running because I've been a civil servant for the last 25, 28, 30 years. I know our struggles. Your struggles are my struggles. Your concerns are my concerns. We're all dealing with the same type of issues. That's property taxes, health care benefits, those type of things. I will fight for you. I am resilient. It's very difficult to be a minority woman and have a business for 28 years and be successful. And I would appreciate your vote on May 4th. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tony Evans. Some of you may already know me from running for City Council Ward 9 last year, but I'm continuing to fight to help my community. I'm you. That's the difference between me and my opponents. Is I'm you. I'm not going to come with, all the accolades and all the awards. But in my life, I've done very well. I've been a working man. I'm a personal trainer. I've been in health and wellness for 25 years. And so this is what I want to bring to the community. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a former business owner. I'm a current entrepreneur here in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. And I understand the struggles that it takes to open your own business. And so me being on the front line, I feel like I am the best person to speak to these issues when it comes to mental health, and the elderly. I have a grandmother. I was raised. She had schizophrenia, and it took a toll on my family, and it even took a toll on the relationship that I have with my mother. And so I can speak to mental health and mental illness. I can speak to health and wellness. I can speak to entrepreneurship. I'm young, I'm strong, and I'm here for you. I'm here to fight. I'm not afraid to fight. I just need an opportunity, and I just need a chance. So if you can identify with somebody that can identify with you, and someone that understands your struggles and what it takes to make it in this world. We have to build stronger programs that work. My opponents will tell you all the things that they've done, all the programs that they've created and they've set on this committee and that committee, but yet we don't see the change. I'm about doing it. I'm about making it happen. So if that's what you're about, then I'm your guy. Thank you.
This is the hardest part about the campaigning. I'm normally the guy behind the scenes doing the work. You know, I remember when I was 18 years old. I just dropped out of Glenville. Some of my peers were going off to college. 92, I was standing in front of Judge Ferrari asking custody of my daughter. I was 18, high school dropout, no job, but I thought she would be better with me. Looking back, that's all I wanted was her. Then I said, I had Section 8, I'm going back and forth. Section 8, low income jobs. I said, man, we're not gonna make it. So I went to go get a GED, May 24th, 95, I got that GED. I went straight to BW, first quarter, all F's. I didn't supposed to be there. I said, we gotta make it. So in 97, I formed a business, Miller Mosley Group, cutting grass. Now it's gonna move to all different areas. I got involved with politics. My friend wanted to be a judge, the late Pauline Tarver. I didn't know anything about politics. Put my sleeves up, worked along the way. Now, some people know me. I've had political adversaries. My thing has always been how to get the job done. I'm task and goal oriented. So people say, smile. You know me, I'm gonna smile, but sometimes I'm focused. I'll get the job done. 8 years ago, when this seat opened, I was working. We lost. I started helping Councilman Conwell in this ward. For 8 years, I've been sitting at this table. For 8 years. When he have his meetings, I'm here helping as the lieutenant. Now, I don't serve 5 years in council. I don't serve in the state house, but I learned lessons. Politically, I was immature, made bad decisions. Now, I have to own my life. I run marathons. I can't say, can you look at this great mile I ran? You may judge me and say, look what he did to me then. All I know, since 2014, I've been working to build a business and work in this community. I know Ward 9. I've been working with the Conwells on the ground. When you have these meetings, when Conwell got a problem, he said, Miller, can you help him? No problem, Council. So when it comes down to this community, I clearly understand the needs of this community. And in Columbus, it's a supermajority. 1 minute, it's a supermajority. I feel at this age, I can go down and deal with the supermajority and come back and help the East Side Market, come back and help the Hitchcock for Women, help Councilwoman Conwell and her husband get things done. I'm Eugene Miller, and please, you know, this is all about people. I'm in the people business. I cannot, if I did something 20 years ago, I have to apologize and own it. I need your support. I'm Eugene Miller.
Well, first of all, my elders would tell me, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I brought this mic today because I wasn't sure what we were working with. And I also respect our elders, so it's important that the people in the back can hear you. Can you hear me all right? Yes. You can hear me all right in the back? Perfect. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for showing up today because I've always learned that the most important thing that you can do is show up for your community. And my grandmother instilled that in me because at an early age, she understood that if we pour into our community will pour into us. And so I thank you for showing up today because when you show up, what that says to me is we aren't just going to lay down and take whoever is going to be here in the State House. That if you're here today, you're showing up because you care about democracy and you're saying to people, we are not just going to lay down and take whoever is handed to us. And today, I'm showing up for you because I'm running for state rep. I'm Lauren R. Welch for House District 20. I have to tell you, there's a lot of things I've done as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my business almost 10 years ago. I was serving at CAS Cleveland, still serving at CAS Cleveland for our families and our students in 104 CMSD schools, making sure that our students are not going hungry, having good, clean clothes on their back, making sure that they are housed because we know that we have an unhoused population here in Cleveland. I am in 104 schools nearly every single month, making sure our students have what they need to succeed. I was the vice president of RTA for the last 5 years, making sure that we had clean, safe buses. That's results. Making sure that our stations are well taken care of so you can get to and fro from work to school. I was making sure with Fresh Fest Cleveland, as an organizer for Fresh Fest Cleveland in the Kinsman area, that 16,000 people and small businesses had a place that they can go to so they can educate themselves on scaling their business, so they can learn about how to have clean eating through our farmers market. And so I have to tell you, of all this work that I've done, we are living in a global district. When I served at RTA, when I'm serving at CMSD, RTA serves over 66 cities. And we need someone in the state house who's going to understand that it's not just about one block, one ward, that we need to be able to serve multiple wards in our city, because we are a diverse city that is filled with different people with different needs. And the last thing I did was serve on city council just last year. And I have to tell you, we know serving in the city of Cleveland, it don't matter whether you're from the east side or the west side or the southeast side, the disparities exist amongst us across the board. And so I'm here to tell you that I'm going to fight for you in the State House, because I understand what it's like, not just in 66 cities, we're right here in the city of Cleveland, and I need your vote on May 4th.
Okay, one little commercial break. I just want to acknowledge the elected officials in the room. Councilman Kevin Conwell, recently elected Judge Kalila Lawson, recently elected Judge Ensign Loving. We have Judges Jeff Johnson here this evening, Andrea Nelson Moore. We have Democratic Party Chair David Brock, and the Vice President of the Democratic Party, and our State Rep, Juanita Brett of House District 18. So we will continue. First question, and we will also be starting with Ms. Welch on the opposite end. So this question is for everyone. Will you give 3 achievements, experiences in your life that you feel prepared you for being the state representative for House District 1?
Thank you so much, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank the councilwoman and councilman for hosting this today. I have to tell you, as I stated, being vice president of RTA is no easy feat. As you know, very many of you take the bus. How many of you have taken the bus before and gotten to your workplace? And sometimes those workplaces or those buses didn't get you there on time. But I have to tell you, it is a $400 million budget that RTA is working with every single year. And part of my job is to make sure that as we are working on that budget, that again, we have safe, clean buses. We were able to instill almost 20 new service routes and 20 new buses into the community during my time at RTA. And that's a proud moment for me, because often what I tell people is that these systems are interconnected. Education, workforce, transit. If you cannot take the bus to get to work, you cannot have a job. If you cannot take the bus to get to school, you are not going to be able to be educated to then get a job in the future. And so I'm very proud of the work that I was able to do at RTA, handling a $400 million budget, because that is what we're doing as state reps, is handling budgets. Being the director of Say Yes, where we were raising more than $100 million to send our kids to post-secondary opportunities, I have to tell you, our kids are struggling. They're not just struggling, but they're dying. And I don't mean to put fear in the heart of you, but I have to tell you, when I'm in those 104 schools every month, I am witnessing an attendance problem. When I'm at Say Yes, what I see is a bunch of individuals, including myself, at one point in time, who needed scholarship opportunities. And one of those opportunities I needed is not to graduate and be in a bunch of debt. And what I learned is if those students have the support they need and the scholarships that they need, they can succeed. And I'm proud of that, because we've graduated more than 5,000 children who ended up taking the Say Yes scholarship. That is an achievement, I believe. And then again, being in city council, you know, I was there very briefly, but again, the impact was very great. I was helping individuals who were unhoused in different places. I was making sure that they were able to get shelter, and I was ensuring that across the board, people have what they need.
Thank you. Mr. Eugene Miller, don't go over your time.
Three accomplishments. You know, I served in council for 5 years. So I know in council, as Councilman Conwell know, and Councilman Welch know, we do a lot of things in council. So for me to find 3 things, I would have to be here all day. I've served in the State House for 27 months. We passed the budget, working and helping people. You know, my biggest accomplishment really is interacting with people. You know, the dark what helps you the most. When you fail, I concentrate on what failure. The things I don't fail at. I don't feel that maybe I shouldn't have smiled at him or did this. How do you work together? Accomplishing and being honest and working with people. You know, I'm a substitute teacher. I've been subbing for 6 years, this year in the city of Cleveland. That's an interesting work. I go in there helping our young people out on the ground, subbing, helping them. Because some of our students need help. We have some students, I had 4 students the other day. 2 of them had autism, 2 of them were regular scholars. And I had to sit here and learn how to deal with the nonverbal one. That achievement for that day, that young kid, that young scholar, I had to figure out how to talk to him, talk with his hands. I failed the 3rd grade. Reason why I love being in school, because I'm helping people. Helping people, the biggest accomplishment. That's what it's all about, helping people. Helping people. That's the accomplishment.
So the question was, name 3 things that you accomplished in life that you feel that do this job. And so once again, you know, I don't come with a lot of accolades like my opponents, but for instance, when I opened my first business, I mean,
Can you speak up? You have
okay,
a mic?
okay, well, when I opened my first business, it was hard. Oh my God, it was so hard. I saved and saved and saved, and finally the day came, and I was able to open up my first
Talk a
business.
little louder.
Hey, Ernie.
Talk a little
Hey, I think we do got a mic around here.
Yeah, talk a little louder.
I'm pausing you too, so you're not there.
They gotta turn it on in the back. You gotta turn it on in the back.
Hey, Eric, how you doing, man?
Y'all better strain to hear, because we have time limited. So, y'all work on that, please, let him finish.
Okay, so I'm trying to speak up a little bit louder. Okay, so the point I'm making is my accomplishments are simple, and I feel like my accomplishments are accomplishments that you have probably faced in your life. I started my own business, and like I said, I saved and I saved, and I was able to do that. Even becoming a homeowner. You know, I had a house and I had lost it in my youth, and I had to work and work and work to become a homeowner again right here in the beautiful city of Cleveland, Ohio. And even just running as a candidate for Ward 9 City Council. I mean, that's an accomplishment because it's not easy. It's not easy, you know, putting yourself out there on the front line. But I love my community, and I'm here to fight.
As I stated before, I was a police officer for 25 years. That alone gives me experience as a public servant. I am an owner of a business. As a black woman, having a business and also being a police officer, I was discriminated against on the job because I was a business owner. I had to file a complaint against other police officers for harassing my people on my job. And I had to do that. I had to stand alone. I had a few officers, and I'm happy that I had them, that gave me the support. But those are the things that I had to go through as a police officer, as a female. And on my complaint, I told them I feel I was harassed because I was a black female and a business owner, and they wanted me to pay them. Another accomplishment and achievement that I've had is that I own my building on 79th Superior. I house a restaurant, Dion's, and Human-Doc. Human-Doc's a nonprofit, and I wanted them there because they help people after they left the penitentiary to come back into society. I let them have that office, and I feel that that's giving back to the community. I really do. Thank you.
Since we're talking politics here, because this position that we're advocating for is a political position. So what I would say is one of my greatest achievements is being on an army or being on a team with an army that defeated Senate Bill 5, which is the legislation that I told you the General Assembly was trying to attack public workers to organize. My second achievement is, as ward leader of Cleveland Ward 7, during the George Floyd situation, they were trying to pass legislation to ban you from using your cell phone in the process of an officer performing his duty. We formed a coalition in Ward 7, and we called a town hall meeting. We didn't have one state representative, but we called several state representatives from around the state to come together. We went down, we defeated the legislation in committee. Because here's the thing, if you're not defeating legislation in the General Assembly in committee, because the ratio of Republicans and Democrats are so great. So those are two of the great achievements that I achieved. The third one is becoming ward leader. That's an achievement, because really you consider the Vice Jared of the council person. So as my political experience is what I would consider my greatest achievements.
Okay, the number 2 question is, what do you see as your top 4 duties as a state representative? And have you begun to formulate strategies to address?
One of the top 4 duties as a state representative, first and foremost, is to bring resources and opportunities to our community. I've been working for the last 15 years. Like I said, I've worked on a load of statewide initiatives for the right of the people in our community. Fight for a fair economy. What a lot of people don't understand is that the minimum wage have not kept up with the rate of inflation since 1968. If it had, it would be over $25 an hour. And that is how this huge wealth gap has been created between corporations and working people. Because what corporations do, they pass their inflation costs on to you as a worker by not giving you the proper rates. So that's one of the things that I've already started. Not only that, we're fighting right now I'm fighting corporations to treat workers fair. We're doing a campaign against Bill Fair, who doesn't want to recognize organized labor, and so we're in a fight with that. So there's a lot of things that I've already done at a state level to benefit our district.
Thank you. 2 minutes, we're down to the 2 minutes to answer a question. If you need me to repeat, just let me know.
If elected, or when I'm elected, my duties would be property taxes, crime, infant mortality, and right now, Ohio has no law concerning unsecured guns. When a gun is left unsecured, a life can be taken, and that changes a family indefinitely. Obamacare, as you all know it, needs to be extended indefinitely. 193,000 people have not signed up for any medical coverage. And that's sad. And those are some of the things that I want to deal with. Property taxes, crime, infant mortality, and Obamacare, medical insurance.
Okay, so the 4 things that I want to focus on as a state rep is education, funding. I think education is very, very important. Our kids are the future, and if they're not educated, then they're not prepared for the world out there, and the world is tough. Affordable healthcare access. Healthcare is very important. Having an elderly grandmother, she depends on Medicaid and Medicare to be in a nursing home, and if that was not in place, that would take a huge toll on our family, and it's very important that we focus on that. And job creation and economic development is very, very important. Job creation, being an entrepreneur, helping the people create jobs so we can employ people in our community. And I think that will solve the first issue that I want to deal with is crime prevention. People don't wake up and say, hey, I want to be a criminal. You know, that mentality is created. And to prevent that, we have to create an economy within our communities that will prevent people from having to feel like they have to go to those measures just to make it. Thank you.
Just to repeat the question, what do you see as your top 4 duties as a state representative, and have you begun to formulate strategies to achieve them?
You know, this is tough. You know, affordability is important. I left out the house this morning. I gotta get a haircut because you gotta look nice. That's $40. This I have eczema. This cost me $53. I don't have insurance. When you talked about Obamacare, I'm that person that lacks insurance. So for my eczema, I gotta use this. It cost me $53 today. I had to get gas. So affordability is important. It's not something people talk about. This is real. I remember sitting on welfare and trying to juggle stuff. My father, who's 70, he know how to do the internet to buy stuff, but I got to figure out how to help him with his Medicaid and how to get the funds for him. This is real. You know, we talk about school funding. I'm in class with our babies. Our babies should not have this funding. And the DeRoth now probably got grandkids. We fund schools. We don't fund schools correctly. So if your son go to Beechwood to get more money, when I'm in the state, we're going to check out. We should be taking care of school funding, number 1. Ohio should be funding it. And now if Beechwood wants to go build an indoor track, they can put a levy in if they want to do that. Vouchers, they hurting our schools. That's why we closing. I'm against all vouchers. We got to take care of people. I should not be paying no $53 and I ain't got the money. And okay, I live invoice to invoice because I'm an entrepreneur. But guess what? There are people like my dad, people like my mom, they don't have it. They got the little money, but then you're going to choose between a $40 haircut at Penn's Barbershop or your medical. And this is real. That's what I'm going to be working on in Columbus. And you got to go till and talk to people. There's a super majority down there. And I'm going to use my business mind, like Ms. Perkins says, business. And we got to figure out have a better stream way for businesses because it's a lot of work in Columbus. We got 2 representatives here. I'm sorry, 3 former representatives. We got 2 representatives. I understand Columbus. There's a lot of red tape down there. So my greatest achievement is being a father. Most people know me as a father and now grandfather. That's my greatest achievement. Thank you.
Thank you for using this. Because again, our seniors. First of all, look, these are 2-year terms. And so for me, gone are the days where we are talking about what we're going to do in 2 years. It's important that we understand what I'm going to do in the first 90 days. Okay, how many of you have started a job? And what's the probation period? Is it not 90 days? Okay, when you get there on the job, how many days did you got to prove yourself? 90 days, okay? So I'm not talking about the first 2 years. We are not talking about what I'm going to do over a period of time before I'm going to get elected. I want to talk about what I'm going to do in the first 90 days. And one of those things that I'm going to do is bring money back to our communities because I'm tired of our community being neglected. One of those ways is our schools. I know a lot of people are talking about kids, but how many of you know that we have 30 schools closing? How many of you saw Glenville and Collinwood talking about we're closing our school? Tremont, I was at those meetings. It is disheartening and disappointing to see how much is going into a $600 million stadium, but we cannot fund our schools. I'm talking about violence prevention, and not just violence for gun violence. We know that's a problem. I'm talking about medical violence. We still have mothers that are dying on the table. I'm talking about state violence. I was with Brother Tamir Rice, his mother, when he was when he was murdered. I was with Brelow. I remember when that happened. When George Floyd happened, I was on the front lines watching what happens at the hands of state violence when black bodies are not taken care of. I have a sheet for you here where it talks about the stats and how much money that they're giving to state violence. And it is not much. It is crumbs in a bucket. And beyond that, because I only have a little bit of time, again, I talked to you about the transit system. As soon as I got out of RTA, they're talking about cutting service routes. How are we supposed to get to work? How are we supposed to get to school? How are we supposed to get what we need if we can't get the access to service routes or service routes that are going to be on time? Money needs to be put back into our community, and it needs to be put back into our community today. And the final thing that I'm thinking about, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So the next question, it'll start from Ms. Welch's side. Number 3 is, how will you stay connected to your constituents as state representative, and how will you work with county and city elected officials?
Thank you for that question. First of all, how many people, show of hands, know who their state rep is? Okay, how many of you talked to your state rep this year? Oh, see, the numbers are dwindling. How many people had their state rep come to their school or their church? Okay, so this is disheartening. So the numbers keep going down and down and down, right? You should not have to track your state rep down. And one thing that is important to me when I'm sitting in city council, even when I'm working with our schools, is being available, being present. You shouldn't have to track us down. You shouldn't have to figure out how to get in touch with us, because you should already know where to find us. It's about transparency. It's about accessibility. I left you a one-pager here because this is how we start. It doesn't have to start during election season. It can start today. What are we doing today? I have Terrence Upchurch's number right here on the back. Because when we're talking about fighting, I'm not talking about fighting in a year in 2027 when I'm elected. I'm talking about I'm calling the phone today. Because when I'm talking about we are dying at the hands of state violence, when we're dying on the medical table, I'm saying it's important that we collectively come together to make sure that those issues are being taken care of right now. So for me, I believe in transparency. I believe in education. I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always learning something new. I believe it's important that our state reps come to you with the information instead of you having to Google us or track us down. And that's what I'm going to do when I'm in the State House.
When I served in Cleveland City Council, we met every Friday. I copied Councilman Conwell. He used to meet every Thursday. I met every Friday. When I was in the State House, we have a limited budget in the State House. My state representatives in the room, they know everybody doesn't get a newsletter. That's how it works. So if I'm elected to the State House, I'm already starting weekly meetings every week on Zoom. Starting. I'm copying what the Congresswoman's doing. I'm on one of her boards. We meet once a month on Zoom. I said, okay, once a month. So if I'm elected to the State House, we're going to meet once a month on Zoom. I'm starting already. Every Monday, if you want to talk to me on Zoom, I'm doing it during the election. If I get elected to the State House, once a month on Zoom. When I left council in 2013, for 8 years, I've been sitting in this church with Councilman Conwell once a month. Every month. The people in this room who come to these meetings, they know I sit right here as a lieutenant. When Councilman Conwell says something, I write down the names, and I follow through and call to help him out. If Amadi was here, if Monty can't get the call, or Leon can't get the call, Eugene's taking the call, and people live in Ward 9 know that when he calls, I'm the one helping. And so the work is the easier part of this business. The part you got to work on is the politics. Where I got to go over here and navigate and talk to this young lady to get the votes to bring back the bacon so we can get the East Side Market together, the Hitchcock Women's Center together. That's the hard part. It's the politics. The work is simple. I think everybody on the table to do the work. It's the politics that we got to work on.
So as your state rep, I believe in accountability, and I believe in doing things different. I do understand that people have their way of doing the job traditionally, but I believe in doing things outside the box and thinking outside the box. And so I believe in accountability. As a state rep, I want to know where the money's going and is it being effective. I don't just want to hand you some money and then nothing happens. So I want to work with each council person, each person, respective of their position, and hold them accountable. If they're not following through, I'm gonna go knock on your door and tell you, instruct you, hey, you need to change your vote because you're not being served properly and the money's not being used effectively. We have to do things different, outside the box.
Realistically, I'm going to talk to our local elected officials quarterly. I'm going to have an office here in Cleveland so that the community, if they need to, they know where to find me. Now, I realize that 3 or 4 of those days I will be in Columbus. So that means that I will have a system set up where you can leave messages, we will have meetings, but I'm looking at it realistically. I will not be there for 3 to 4 days out of the week. But we're gonna have newsletters, they're gonna be mailed out to you, and they're going to be online for those that don't have computers or aren't computer savvy. And that's the type of things that I'm going to do. But like I said, the office, local office will be here.
Well, first of all, you have to understand how government works. First of all, we have 137,000 people in this district, House District 20. So in order to be in touch with all of your residents, you have to first understand that you have a county council person, you got a city council person, you got a ward leader, and you got precinct committee members. So precinct committee members are your ground people, because every district and every ward is broke up into precincts, right? And so if you stay in touch with your precinct committee members, that'll keep you in touch with the masses of the people, because you give them the information and they can give it out to their precinct. And if you can spread it that way. The way it works is the council person doesn't work in your ward. He works at 601 Lakeside on behalf of your ward. He's even got 30-something thousand people in his ward. Now it's what? 25,000. Anyway, a vast number. So that's why you got precincts set up. So he can give the information to the precinct committeemen. They give it to the people. That's the way you stay in touch with the masses of the people, through the precinct government.
Yep. Number 4 question. There is current legislation involving protecting senior property tax foreclosures. Have you done research on this topic? And if so, what pieces of legislation would you offer to address them? Or if current legislation is proposed, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of the things, I did do my research, and I seen where Governor DeWine signed a $3 billion tax relief, right? But it's really not enough. Let's be honest. The key to our tax issue today is that we have to change the policies. Because like I told you, I worked on the statewide initiative, Fight for a Fair Economy, right? And that's where we challenge large corporations to pay their fair share of taxes. See, the thing is, we don't actually have a people paying tax problem. We have a fair share problem. Corporations too far up, working people too far down. We did an initiative called the pilot program where we asked large corporations to donate to our school system, because in other states they have what you call pilot programs that means pay in lieu of taxes, where their large nonprofit corporations donate to their struggling school system. That's the type of legislation we need. We need legislation to change the whole paradigm on how we pay taxes in this country. Because how fair is it that Harry has to pay more property tax than Cleveland Clinic, and we all know the vast amount of property that they take up? So it's a matter of changing the paradigm on how we pay taxes in this country, and that's the solution.
Right now, we have the homestead exemption law for seniors 65 years of age and over, and for disabled people. There are some proposed tax foreclosures laws that are not in effect now, is House Bill 443. This will prohibit counties from enforcing property tax foreclosures on our people. Currently, the bill applies to homes who are $750,000, less than $750,000. But seniors must still pay some type of monthly payment. That is still, it was introduced and is still awaiting in committee. Then there's Senate Bill 206, which would provide a 50% reduction for all homeowners 65 years of age. But this too is still under consideration. Then there's House Bill 185, 335, 309, and 129. These bills have been introduced, but they are not law. And you have to meet the criteria. And as I said before, none of this is law. My goal is to work on these bills to make further cuts to help with property taxes and to establish legislation to make these laws so these laws can come into effect. Thank you.
Okay, so, when it comes to property taxes, I think we can all speak to this, whether if you're a homeowner, whether you're 47 or 89, they're high. And, we always, they have all these bills out there, they're not effective. I mean, because your bills are still going up. They're never gonna go down. And, what are we doing? So, my thing is, when you create a program, you gotta have a way to pay for it. And so, I feel like we should be creating a new economy, manufacturing. Let's start making stuff again. We have the infrastructure for it already. And with that, we can create a program where seniors pay next to nothing on their property taxes. After all, they worked hard. They paid their house off for, 30 years. They've been in the community for 30, 40 years. We got to take care of them. So we got to think outside the box. I'm not a traditional guy. I don't have all the experience that these people have, but I know that we can do something. There's always something that can be done, and we just have to figure out a way to do it.
Ms. Perkins was right on something with the actual House bills, and I like Evans, right? What he was saying is true. I don't think no senior should lose their home. Like I was talking about the haircut, affordability, we need to figure out ways to help people stay in their homes. And anytime I try to go get a payment plan myself, they always go back, well, the state law says this. So we got to figure out a way with the state. So if Ms. Jones pays her taxes and she comes in some hard times, we should be working on ways to make her stay in her home. And like Mr. Evans was saying, and that's one thing about it. I'm not going to pretend to know every House bill. So when Ms. Perkins was talking, I said, okay, that makes sense. And when he said it makes sense, then I started thinking about the people in the middle. There's people in this room who are from 18 to 59, work income to income, paycheck to paycheck, and need relief also. So we got to take care of our seniors, but we also got to help the people in the middle, because February we got to pay these property taxes. And what's the biggest part of the property tax goes towards? Schools. That's the biggest part. I don't have any children in the district, but we still got to support the district. Ms. Jones is a senior. She has no kids, may have grandkids in the district, but we still got to support it. We have to come up with a better solution. It goes back to that school funding again. Since 1995, it's been, hey, it's unfunded. It's a problem. That's the biggest problem is the funding. That's what affected the taxes. So we got to figure out a way to help people, seniors, homestead. There's some seniors don't even have. My father, 70, he just signed up for homestead because he didn't know how to do it. So we can help the people out just right there by at least helping out, was it 2% reduction? So people should not lose their homes because they can't afford it. We got to figure out a way to help people. That's what I've been talking about all tonight, helping people. We're in the people business.
I'm looking at my colleague in the corner because we talk about tax relief all the time. Today, I want to talk about the fact that this is an issue that hits close to home because my grandmother lost her house because of the rising taxes. And I have to tell you that this is a generational wealth issue. When people are talking about rising costs of property taxes, this is a generational wealth issue for our community. This is about the difference between you having a good future for yourself, where you can retire, and your grandchildren being able to go to afford college. Because when you're not able to carry on a legacy or a house on, or that wealth on to future generations, then those people are left with endless amounts of debt. That's what I accumulated, right, from my grandmother, my sisters and I, right? And thankfully, we're steadily working, trying to pay that off. But this is a financial freedom, generational wealth issue. And the issue at hand, the biggest issue, is that there's actually already bills currently on the table. This isn't about what we're going to do in the future or creating new laws. There's already bills currently on the table. And because they do not care enough about our community, our elders, our seniors, because they care more about making sure billionaires get rich and you stay poor and we stay poor, our elders don't get what they need. See, they know when we cannot have our homes, which we know is a part of the American dream for our families, we have nothing to pass on. And so my solution is we need to start right now, and I'm hoping these people will help me out right now, talk to our state rep right now about how we can get these bills passed in the current season. Because this is we cannot wait. We cannot afford to wait until 2027. And one of the things I'm talking about when it comes to financial freedom, I'm thinking about Frederick Douglass, who said, when I started thinking about freedom, I started praying with my feet. We need to start using our feet to walk down and make sure we get these bills passed so we can have financial freedom.
Okay, number 5 question will go from Ms. Welch on the educational funding policy in Ohio is not adequate for urban cities like Cleveland. Please share your thoughts on current conditions and how you will address them.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've already talked to you ad nauseum about how I've been working in our schools for the last 5 years, and also I'm a CMSD graduate representing Jane Addams Business Career Centers in the Central neighborhood. So again, I understand from all different parts of the wards that the education system is broken, that how we fund schools are broken. I worked on 2 school levies in the past 5 years, which means that if we're struggling to pay taxes, they are asking for more dollars in our pocket. 2, not 1 school levy, 2 school levies in the last 5 years. And what I know for certain is, again, as I said, we have $600 million to put into a stadium, but we are taking funding away from our schools. Again, I left you here information because I think it's important that you know this when you call up your state rep. When you call me in 2027, remember when you said to me a year ago what was happening with schools? So then what are we doing about that $16 million in cuts, Lauren? What are we doing about the other $10.7 million in cuts, Lauren? I'm giving this to you as an accountability tool. So when you go and talk to your state rep today, and when you talk to me in 2027, or when you're talking to me now, you understand what's at stake. The education system is broken, how we fund schools is broken, and enough is enough. It is time that we put this money back into schools, and if you elect me as state rep, that is what I'm going to do the first 90 days.
Like we talked about earlier, the Roth should have grandchildren now. Since 1995, it's unconstitutional how we fund schools. I believe that the state should be in business. The states are funded, period. That's the number one thing that we should be doing, is funding schools. Not Cleveland, not the homeowners in Beechwood, not the beach homeowners in Sugar. We should be funded, period. I don't have the actual formula, but my ideology is we should be funding it. Like I was saying earlier, now, if Cleveland Public Schools wants to have a levy to put an indoor track at Glenville, then we put it on the ballot. But when it comes down to funding, whatever the cost is to fund education, we should be in the education business, period. Because you're going to pay for it when he or she goes to Mansfield, you're going to pay for it. So you might as well pay for it now. When I'm in that classroom with that I enjoy pre-K and kindergarten. That's where I'm at when I'm subbing. I'm there helping the young people because that's where I feel that. I saw the governor just, we figured out a way to help young people with reading because some of them don't have glasses. I find it amazing that some kids don't have glasses. So when I'm in class with the young people, I'm sitting up here, we have to help them. So if you're a student in Shelby County, if you're a student in Franklin County, they all need help. The kids are our future. I'm a grandparent, got an 11-year-old granddaughter, love her to death. Got a 3-year-old granddaughter, they're our future. The school funding is a problem, and we've been talking about it for years. We gotta figure out how to do it. Period.
So, once again, I'm the type of guy I like to think outside the box. So, I believe in empowering our community. There are a lot of people in our community that are very talented, very smart, and some people actually have businesses where they want to tutor, students, want to tutor kids so they can advance in their education. So, instead of investing all this money in this education system that keeps failing and failing and failing, no matter how much money you give it, let's empower the people. Let's empower people in the community to encourage them to tutor and to educate our kids so that they don't fall behind in schools. You know, we put a lot of pressure on teachers in the school system, but they can only do so much. And this is a community effort. You know, some things legislation can take care of, but a lot of our issues in our communities, we're gonna have to roll up our sleeves and get involved. And that means not just me, but you. Thank you.
Our educational funding in Ohio is inadequate for our city and other urban cities. They rely on our property taxes to fund the schools. We should not be funding the schools. The state should be funding our schools. Currently, the state allows private schools and charter schools to use state money, which takes away from our Cleveland Public Schools, CMSD. Right now, CMSD has a deficit of $96 million. And in the next 2 years, we'll have to cut about $160 million. The state needs to fully fund the fair school funding plan and keep updating base costs. Target extra money to poverty areas. Reduce dependence on property taxes instead of giving the Browns money from unclaimed funds. That money should be earmarked to our schools, not a billionaire. And I mean B for billionaire for his stadium. Thank you.
First, you gotta understand what's happening, and I'm a firm believer that all politics are local, right? We have 607 school districts in the state of Ohio, and Cleveland is the only school district that don't elect their school board members. It's mayoral rule. So being the mayor of a greater city like Cleveland, when does he tend to the school? On his coffee break? So the thing that I'm saying is this, and I don't mean to be facetious, but if she was on the school board, maybe she would be more attentive to how the money is spent because she has kids in the school. So when you equate a CEO, I equate a CEO with a corporation, not a school district. But in any event, another thing is the state ain't coming to save our babies' education. We got to get creative. That's why we went out and did the pilot program, pay in lieu of taxes. You've got large corporations that paying absolutely no taxes, which could go towards our school district. Cleveland Clinic is a nonprofit organization, but they profit over $1 billion a year in our community. If they paid taxes on that $1 billion, it'd be $25 million, $30 million. So that's one thing, we have to get creative because the government and the city is not coming to save our educational system. You should read about White Hat or Excel charter schools. They're the ones who's putting the strain because they're taking our vouchers from our public education system.
We have come to the last question, for the evening. So, you guys have done great thus far. The last one we're gonna give, we have a little time to give, so we're gonna give 3 minutes for the last one. And the last 3 minutes given to each candidate will allow you to add or expand on earlier introduction statements. Okay? Everybody good with that?
Like I said, again, I'm Mike Seals, and I have the experience on statewide initiatives that it takes, because you can talk local politics, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to have the capability to go down to the State House, because that's a whole different breed. You're not going to, you gotta consider the fact that there's 65 Republicans to 34 Democrats. So if you don't, they don't even need us to vote on legislation. And I couldn't help but notice, but all of the tax reform introductions are sponsored by Republicans. So, and they are the draftsmen and the architects of the tax oppression. So quite naturally, if we don't change the whole policy, they're not going to save us. That's smoke and mirrors. But in any event, I have the backing of the labor organizations to help me do these initiatives that I want to change, fight for a fair economy. We need to challenge these big banks on this predatory lending. You know, we need to challenge these tax policies. We need to challenge corporations who don't pay their fair share of taxes. Because if they paid their fair share of taxes, the burden wouldn't fall on us. So if we're not changing policy and talk about changing the way that these taxes are implemented, then we'll never get to the next level. It's policy that oppresses us. Politics is everything. That stop sign didn't just fall out the sky, it's politics. Everything that governs our life. When you have an issue, we have our SNAP issue, that's policy. When you get your Social Security check, that's policy that decides how much you get on that check. So if you don't have anybody down in the State House advocating for your rights and needs, then you can do all this lip service you want. And it's hard being an individual. If you're not going down to the State House with organizations, which I've worked with a number of advocacy organizations, Fair Wage Ohio, so many I can't name them, Raise the Minimum Wage, People Not Politicians. So you need organizations to change issues in the State House. That is a whole different breed from sitting here talking about your accomplishments here in Cleveland. And I've worked on statewide initiatives, so I can tell you, you need organizations to change the oppression that we are under today, because they have us outnumbered. You're talking about 27 Republicans in the Senate to 6 Democrats. So if you're not stopping legislation in committee, you can just talk all you want.
Again, I'm Charlotte Perkins. I'm not a brilliant talker, things like that, but I will work hard. I will be down in Columbus working with those Republicans to make sure we get a fair share. Like I said, I've been in business, so I know how to talk to people, how to get the things that I need. And I will also get the things that you need. And right now, we have to work together. We have to vote. We don't need to be just registered. We need to vote. And this is the reason why we're in this predicament that we're in. We can all say, oh, I'm going to vote for you. But when that day comes, you're not there. We have got to do that. Back in the 60s, our people knew what to do. We need to get back to those same type of ideas and doing what we need to do. Get out there. And we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not making sure that our kids attend school. They are getting there late. That is our responsibility. We have to do what we're supposed to do, what we were born to do. We are a strong people, and we can get it done. but we have to do it. I am a fighter. I will be down there fighting for you all the time. Like Mike said, there aren't a lot of Democrats down here. But we have got to put Democrats back in office. We got to vote, people. Got to vote. Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
So, I'm not sure, well, I'm quite sure, those of you that have had a job before, you started out entry level and you wanted to move up and you needed a chance, you needed an opportunity. Maybe some people said you couldn't do the job. Maybe some people laughed, you know, because you didn't come with all the credentials, you didn't come with all the awards and, you know, recognitions. But you knew you could do the job. You believed in yourself. You knew what you were capable of if you had the opportunity. And so that's what I'm asking for, is an opportunity. I have a beautiful background story, but I moved here to Cleveland, Ohio to start a political career because I knew that I wanted to help in the world of politics, in the realm of politics. Now, am I a politician? No, and thank God. I'm you. I am you. I understand what you go through, because I go through the same thing. A lot of people may spend so much time in office that they forget. They forget what it's like to be on this side. And so that's what I bring to the table. I've been a manager my entire career. I worked in management for 26 years. I've been a personal trainer, health and wellness industry, 26 years. Turned pro 2017, which is not easy to do. You have to be very disciplined, you have to be very dedicated, and you have to be willing to do what it takes to build what you're trying to build. And so that is what I bring to the table. My life reflects my efforts, and my efforts is what I want to bring to this community and make this community great. This city is a beautiful city. People ask me all the time, why did you move to Cleveland, Ohio? And I'm like, it has so much opportunity. You just got to take advantage of it. And so this is why I'm here. So just give me an opportunity. Give me a chance. And if I don't do the job, if you don't feel that I've done what I said I would do, then vote me out.
Some people in this room know me. Some of them is an introduction. You know, losing sucks. In 2013, I lost my election, and I went to his victory party that night. I said, look, Councilman Johnson, you the councilman. I'm not going to bother you. I'm going to support you in the neighborhood, because I know how it feels as a councilman, people are bothering your politics. 17, I lost to Councilman Harrison. I said the same thing to him. You the councilman, I'm going to move on and do work in the community. And I'm telling you this because losing sucks. And in our business, when you lose, you probably won't going to help your opponent. Now, you say it, but you don't do it. The reason why I'm telling you this because I don't work with Cleveland politics is tough. So I had to put my personal stuff to the side to move the community forward. And that's why I worked with Councilman Johnson, Councilman Harrison, Councilman Conwell, because it's about helping people. And I tell you that story because that's why I can go to Columbus and work with the supermajority. Put all that other stuff to the side and go work with people. In my business career, a lot of them are clients. I got clients in this room. They call me up, I get it done. Someone said, your problem is, Eugene, you're too loyal. I'm not going to stop being loyal to what I know is best. So if I'm with you, I'm going to be supporting you. You may not support me, but I'm going to be supporting you and the people. I'm saying this for a reason. They said about earliest commitment. I did not know at 18, dropping out of Glenville, being a single father was my greatest commitment ever. I can die tonight, and you all be at the funeral, talking about what he did. One thing y'all can't say, he stood up, took care of that daughter and that granddaughter. And when it comes down to the people in the community, when this meeting over with in February, I'm still be here. And if it's not a meeting, and resident warden I know, I'm right here helping. So if I get elected to the State House, I'm doing the same thing. When Councilman Conwell was fighting for something, who driving down to Columbus? It was either me or Leon. And we drive down there fighting. I'm a lieutenant. I don't get involved because he's the councilman. He's the councilman. So I'm telling you all these things to say everything I do is about patience. I'm a farmer. Sometimes it don't go right. You got to keep growing. I'm a winemaker. Every wine bottle don't work out. You keep on working. And I'm saying this because you learn through tough times. Tough times bring strong people. That's what you do. I'm here. I'm going to work. I'm going to work for this district. I'm going to work for people. And like what you say, with a smile. Kill them with kindness. Because I'll be focused. A lot of times you may see me like this. I'm focused on helping people. I love y'all. I need y'all support. I'm Eugene Miller. I need y'all help. I need y'all prayers. I need help. And then with y'all support, I can make it to Columbus. We'll be in Columbus.
All I can say to you is that we are the choices that we make in life. And democracy is always about a series of choices. And I don't have to tell you twice that it was the choices of individuals that got us in a second Trump presidency. Okay? And it landed us with a Republican White House. It landed us with a majority Republican State House. And it's not just about electing a Democrat, it's about electing better Democrats. That's the choice that we have on the table right now. We are not dealing with the same republic that we had 17 years ago. This is not the Bush administration, which I was alive for. This isn't the Clinton administration. This is not even the George Biden administration. You are watching people who look like us get murdered in the streets. You are watching people who look like us get kidnapped and taken into encampments only to be never heard of again. So I stand on the shoulders of the people who are going to come before us and the people who are going to come after us. And this is beyond resume building. This is beyond I need a job to get me to the next point. We need to elect better Democrats and make a choice to send someone to the State House who is not just going to talk about fighting and being here for us, but is actually going to do the work in this time, in this era, in this way. Because we are not dealing with the same generation of people. These people do not care about us, as evident of the SNAP benefits that were almost taken away from us just a couple of months ago. And when I was sitting on city council, I went to May Dugan and I saw lines around the corner of people who did not have food for their evening meal. That's a choice. People made that choice to elect someone who didn't care about food being on our table. And this May, I'm asking in a very tall order, but nothing too difficult to do, to elect me, Lauren R. Welch, as your State House representative for House District 20, because we need to make better choices for ourselves. We need to make choices about people who aren't afraid to stand up to power. It's too many people going to the State House that can be bought. It's too many people who smile in your face and tell you what you want, but you do not see them raising the fight right here on the streets. It's not enough for people to be kind to you if they are not willing to put up a fight for you. That's what advocacy means. And I'm asking for your vote in May.
Let's give a round of applause to all the candidates. Will be our next House District 20 state representative, so give them another round of applause. There was a note sent up, people wanted to ask questions, but as you can see, we have 5 candidates that would, that want to represent us at the State House. And so I thought it being very fair that before primary or before the Democratic Party get in to say who they endorse as the precincts and elected ward leaders, that you could hear straight from them, and to be fair and equitable, which I'm always, make sure that they have the same question, not to give a different question to everybody. Unfortunately, it's not enough time this evening to give those questions. For you, might want to talk to Lauren and be specific to Lauren. All of them would have to answer that question. So we don't have enough time. Because the church must close at 7. But I do want to give time for if you want to go up and talk, yell about and talk with some of the candidates and maybe you've got about a good 10 minutes where you can do that. And then once the Democratic Party does their endorsement, we can bring, somebody may come from that endorsement, and then we'll go with that, but if it's a no endorsement, which I don't know if it'll be, then we'll definitely.
So this is Larry H. Gardner. I'm about to end this right now. While Councilwoman Conway is speaking. So I will post this and make comments if need be, but I'm going to end this live. All right? That'll be this. All right.